Good afternoon, everyone. Maybe good morning. I guess in today's COVID world, it could be evening as well. I'm Ron Gerber, the head of AngelBeat. So excited to be here with James Beecham, the CTO and one of the co-founders of ALTR. ALTR has spoken at a few AngelBeat events. The response has been absolutely fantastic. People, our AngelBeat community, are very excited to learn about its unique approach towards data security. We're going to see them at many more events. What I wanted to do in this brief conversation is just share with you some insights on what ALTR is about, how it can solve many of your problems, hopefully encourage you to check out altr.com and come to a future AngelBeat event. But maybe to start this off, James, maybe you just give a quick background when ALTR was founded, your personal background, and then we can go into a little bit more detail.
Sure, Ron, thank you so much, and thank you to the entire AngelBeat group and community. It's been a really good experience the past couple times we've interacted. So thank you very much. As just Ron said, I'm James Beecham, one of the co-founders here at ALTR, coming to you from Austin, Texas. We were frozen a few weeks ago. We're starting to warm up now. I think it's going to be blistering hot here pretty soon. So getting back to normal Texas weather. ALTR as a company was founded about 7 years ago with the mission of making data security and data governance very easy for folks. We built a SaaS platform 7 years ago when SaaS delivered security was a relatively new item. And I'm happy to say that those investments have paid off for us tremendously here, especially as folks are moving more and more data to the cloud. So, myself personally, computer engineer by education. My parents are engineers. My brother is an engineer. My wife is an engineer. So you
Very
can tell what
family.
Yeah, you can kind of tell what our Thanksgiving Day conversations are like. Either you love them or you hate them, sort of a thing. So really enjoy computers, enjoy software, but I think most importantly, I enjoy watching folks use data and kind of learning about how data is transforming businesses and decision making today, and all the changings in regulatory and compliance environments out there to kind of keep us on our toes. So very nice to be here today, and looking forward to continuing our discussions with you all.
Excellent. One of the things I've seen within the broader technology industry is this phenomenal growth in data analytics. You've seen Snowflakes go public. We've seen SAP spin off Qualtrics. You've got Amazon, Microsoft, Google, IBM, all touting their analytics because it's clearly a data-driven world. With all of these pure analytics platforms, maybe you could describe the value proposition that ALTR offers to organizations who are probably using one, if not several of these platforms, and why ALTR fills a very unique and critically important niche that supports both the line of business executives as well as the security, audit, and compliance staff.
Sure, and I think after studying this for a while, the answers are becoming more and more obvious. But as you're first starting this data-driven journey, it might not seem so. So, our focus is really on making sure that as customers are adopting these new modern platforms and hooking up more and more analytics tools, as you mentioned, Ron, that they're able to use sensitive data within these platforms. And the reason why I focused on that sensitive data piece is because what we've noticed is that at some point in time, you run out of easy data or non-sensitive data to use inside these platforms, and to continue to gain value out of your data and to see more and more benefits from analyzing it, you need to start bringing in your customer PII information, or maybe even your employee PII information, or in some certain cases, health information to these platforms. And once you do that, you begin to open yourself up to a lot of the regulatory, privacy, and compliance concerns, as well as the security concerns, which haven't gone away ever, as you're beginning to go down these journeys. And so being able to securely use this data and prove to both the line of business and your security and compliance and privacy teams is really important. And so that's why, again, our focus on being SaaS, our focus on being a no-code security platform makes it very easy to pair us with your kind of modern analytics architecture, such that you can prove to your business and to your users that you're being safe with this data. I think one other thing that we've kind of been focused on, and you kind of alluded to it a little bit, Ron, was as you put data into Snowflake and you hook up more and more third-party tools, what you learn is that the protection of the endpoint, whether it was your phone or your laptop, begin to degrade significantly when the access points for this data have been broadened again to other third-party tools or other SaaS vendors, it really starts to put the focus of protection on that data. And so because of that, we like to talk about how data has become the new endpoint for folks, and the new endpoint to focus on for the access. So as long as there's policy over the data, it doesn't matter where you access it or how you access it, that policy will be enforced. And so I think customers have seen tremendous value from going data-driven, but ultimately, reach this canyon or this chasm where they need this sensitive data to come in to continue to grow with that value. And once you kind of reach that chasm, you'll start looking for tools like ALTR to help you get over that and build a bridge to continue to gain value.
One of the things that one of our past Angel Beat attendees commented to me was that data is not monolithic. It's not homogeneous. There's all kinds of different data. There's traditional structured data. There's unstructured data. We see changes in how data is used in the enterprise. It could be in motion. It could be at rest. There's video. And there's so much data consumption going on. And that's dramatically increased the complexity of data, quote unquote. In addition, you've got all these different applications going on, more and more in the cloud. And one of the things that this individual is very excited to hear from ALTR says, what these guys offer me is almost a holy grail. I can get a single pane of glass that gives me visibility across my data as it's used by multiple departments and multiple applications. He said all the analytics vendors, they're great in showcasing line of business applications, revenue increase, better decision making, but the last thing I want to do is somehow be the company who's in the front page of the news because there's a data breach. And that's why he's very keen in ALTR, and maybe you could comment on other examples like that.
It's a really good point. I think the two sides of that are both the different types and structures of data, but then also the different ways that data is being accessed. And so kind of again, it alludes back to the point about data being the new endpoint, which is if you focus on the data itself as being the place where you want to enforce your policy, then the different access points kind of begin to go and be abstracted away. I think one of the best things about the kind of holy grail comment is that being a SaaS-based tool means that we can cover data from pretty much anywhere. Our support is vast, so we support on-premise structured databases, the cloud versions of those, so anything from the RDSs or the Auroras or any of the Azure or OCI hosted databases, all the way up to the cloud data warehouses. All with one single platform, all with one single integration method per database. And so, I think the point that that viewer was making was, when you had siloed data in the past, and you probably still do today to some regard, you might end up with siloed type security tools, whether it's appliance based or kind of big perpetual software license type sales. But delivering data security as a SaaS platform means we can follow this data wherever it lives. You can provide access to this data wherever you need to, but you still have that single overarching umbrella of the ALTR system, regardless of where it lives, what structure it lives in, but also more importantly, how it's being accessed. And I think that's one of the major benefits that our customers have seen is the time to value is extremely high for them relative to other security solutions.
Another buzzword that I hear a lot about is data locality as it relates to compliance. We've seen that organizations are very keen. Well, it's fine, I'm in the US, but are you backing my data in Europe? Is that my archive site? If so, now I'm suddenly liable for GDPR. You see all the various geographies are all adopting different protocols and compliance. It's not just GDPR. Now you've got California, its own rules. States are starting to make their own specific requirements and how you protect data. Is that another key driver of your growth? It's not just supporting the analytics in general in the line of business. It's making sure that you can help organizations to focus on their line of business and not worry about what's the newest guideline that the state of New York may follow suit after the state of California.
Yeah, it's a good point, Ron. I think one of the major driver factors in needing to think about this is just the financial implications of misusing data. One of the biggest drivers for data growth and data sprawl is wanting to collect more and to use more. But with that comes great responsibility. We've seen the PCI industry be kind of the leader in the kind of governing and requiring of how PCI data is supposed to be protected, processed, distributed, stored, and accessed. And I think very quickly to your point about GDPR, California, and now some of the rest of the states in the U.S., the PCI-like thinking is now being applied to PII data. And so kind of taking the statement of PII data becoming the new PCI data is really, I think, not too far off from being a reality. If you want to use this data and access the personal identifiable information of your customers or of your users, you have to be responsible with that. And that's everything from storage to archival to retrieval to access. And it also doesn't matter where that data lives or exists. If you collect it and you store it, you're responsible for it. Even if that breach happened, back home with the mothership, or it happened through some other third party that you integrated with, that's ultimately going to come back as being one of your customers or one of your pieces of data. And so being able, again, with that SaaS platform to be able to cover, data wherever it lives, wherever it's being generated, collected, stored, accessed, is really, really important. But I think I forget exactly who said it, but it said, they said regulations begin in Europe, they go to California, and then they spread to the rest of the U.S. And that model is accurate if you look at things like GDPR, CCPA, and now we're seeing, almost every month, new statewide regulations coming up. So I'm not a betting man, but pretty soon I think the federal government's going to do something around the PII side, and once that happens, it's going to be it'll be like HIPAA, but for PII data basically.
Got it. So the real value that you see your end users are achieving with ALTR is these are big deal issues that could have tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of negative implications. When you use ALTR as part of your line of business analytics platform, you can just focus on your business and not worry about this. I would imagine you've got a pretty substantial team constantly monitoring legislation, constantly working with the major analytics platforms to, again, make sure that the end user doesn't need to worry about the integration, especially with your software platform and API and connectors linking to the cloud and Snowflake and whatnot. You take care of all those worries for your customers.
Correct. Yeah. Our biggest benefit to our customers is it lets them, move past any of the security, governance, privacy concerns that you have with using data very quickly. It lets you get to generating value from your data. The worst thing that can happen to you is that you get stuck, trying to innovate and trying to use data for your business. You get stuck in some security, governance, privacy pitfall while your competitors do not. And then they ultimately are going to be out competing in the market, whether it's marketing, whether it's new product, whether it's outreach. So the sooner that you can get those platforms up and running, the sooner you can get more data into things like Snowflake or Redshift, the sooner you can begin to gain value from those. But you have to also do it in a responsible way. And again, that's where being SaaS-based, being no-code, having those automatic connectors, you can prove to your company, to your IT team, to your security teams, that in a matter of hours, that you are protected against the most serious threats to your data, and then begin to go actually do your job and add value for your company. So I think, Ron, that's the biggest piece is getting to value quickly with your data means you need to get to value with security very quickly. If you take a security-first approach to these projects, in 2 years, you won't even be thinking about it because it's already built into it, as opposed to hitting that wall when you want to bring sensitive data in, and then you start dealing with all the questions and the complaints and the problems. It's always better to start with security first, especially when it's easy, like the way that ALTR makes it.
And the final comment I want to make, and then I want to hear your thoughts on what do you see for the next couple of years, is that ALTR also ensures that the performance of these analytics engines, your databases, which can be compromised by other heavier, for lack of a more technical term, tools that might disrupt performance and lookup speeds and data access speeds, because of ALTR's architecture, the connectors you have, the experience you have, you can provide the performance that the line of business staff needs without compromise or creating unnecessary delays.
Correct. Yeah. Our experience has taught us that the two reasons people neglect to add security to their projects is performance and integration options. From the integration option perspective, what I mean there is like going around a proxy, for example. That if you're a proxy-based security solution, there's always going to be that kind of background question of, well, what if I just go around it? And so that, from ALTR's perspective, the integration methods are just as important as the performance side. So being able to integrate directly and ensure that all data access is going through that security layer is important for us. But Ron, you're correct. The biggest thing is on the performance side. Everybody wants security, but nobody wants to pay the latency associated with it. It's the reason that we maybe have 2 locks on our front door as opposed to 13, because getting all those keys out and fumbling around and opening all those locks, it just takes too long. And at the end of the day, we're still human. So we spent the better part of the last 7 years really focused on performance. Coming from the operational world and moving into the analytical world, we bring a ton of experience with us. And our customers have been very, very happy with both the way that we integrate, but also proving that we don't add a lot of overhead or latency, such that we are basically transparent to your end user. So yeah, you're spot on there.
This is why we love having companies like ALTR at AngelBeat, because we can help our attendees not only advance their organization, but all the employees who adopt ALTR suddenly look like big stars, because when their executives read about other individuals who didn't attend AngelBeat, didn't find out about ALTR, and unfortunately they may be subject to data breach, even for the best of intentions, or putting sensitive data up in a non-compliant cloud or virtual machine. I love hearing stories like this, because it helps ensure that individuals want to keep coming back to AngelBeat, learn more about ALTR. What do you see as some of the couple of big things, 2 or 3 major initiatives you're going to be pursuing this year and into the future?
So I think one thing that we've seen that's grown as the data is being consolidated and these platforms are kind of bringing silos of data together, I think there's going to be a big push in the AI and the ML space. I think we're going to see some products and some features come out that were blocked from being able to come out previously because of how disparate the data sources are there. So I'm really excited to start seeing how the services that even I subscribe to as a person begin to get more personalized towards me. But to do that, again, you have to be very responsible with how you're using the data. But once you have all that data in there, I think that's going to be really good. So, concepts like responsible AI and other types of, machine learning, privacy and personal regulations are probably going to be coming up next here on the block, because the use of this data is just so valuable, and those tools are very good. I think the other thing too that I'm really excited about is seeing what happens when people end up freeing on-premise resources, both in terms of dollars and manpower being spent. If your job is not to serve and run databases, you're almost always better off using a SaaS-based tool or a hosted or a managed tool, because it lets you focus on what you do well, which is adding value to your customers. So as folks begin to kind of move more data off-prem and into the cloud, I'm really excited to kind of see what this looks like for being able to output and kind of get more work out of your companies, which will ultimately lead back to the first piece, which is creating more personalized services and offerings that ultimately drive more customer engagement. I think that's where all this is going. Is the customer is the thing that we're all here for every day, and the more that you can engage them with your brand and your product, just the better customer they're going to be for, and that's the ultimate goal. So those are 2 kind of quick things that I'm looking forward to seeing, and we see as data kind of proliferation is existing.
All the topics that we're going to feature at future AngelBeat events. We also hope to have James and his team from ALTR speak about this critically important issue. You can always find out about the latest AngelBeat shows at angelbeat.com. And then ALTR, you may not be able to tell by their logo, but it's just ALTR.com is where you can get the latest and greatest information. James, I want to thank you very much for your time. Very informative. We hope to hear you speak in more detail on these new trends at future Angel Beat events. Hopefully this quick little video interview gave people a snapshot of why ALTR is one of the fastest growing and one of the industry leaders in this data consumption, data security space. Thank you very much, James.
Thank you, Ron. Really appreciate it.